In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to add a border gradient to your buttons in Elementor. These are the buttons that we're going to be creating here. So we're just going to have a regular border gradient on a button, and then we're going to have an animated border gradient as well. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that in this video. I haven't really seen too many videos out there on how to do this with CSS on Elementor. So hopefully you guys are excited for this. If you are, make sure to like it for the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of my videos. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's go ahead and begin here. Open up your Elementor editor and go ahead and drag and drop your button. Make sure that it doesn't have a border here. So I'm going to set my border to none, just in case you have that by default. I'm going to give my button a name. I'm going to call this back to home. And then I'm going to go ahead, go into advanced here, and go into custom CSS. Now, if you don't have Elementor Pro, what you can do instead is just add this to the customizer, but make sure that you give this a class here, and then use that class instead of the selector that I'm going to be using. That's how you can go about doing that if you're on the free version. So I'm going to go ahead and just paste my CSS real quick, just for those of you that just want to do this really fast and get it implemented on your website. But after I'm done doing that, I'm going to write the code from scratch. So for those of you guys that actually want to learn this, which you should, learn some CSS, just stay tuned after. So just going to do this really quick. Copy the CSS that I have in the description here. Go ahead and paste that. As you can see there, there's my code there. So there we go. I'm just wondering why it's doing that here. Let me duplicate this. There we go. So anyway, let's go into advanced here and paste your CSS. So you're going to see this. Now we want to go ahead and add a gradient to this. So go into any gradient generator, and then I recommend this one here, cssgradient.io. Grab the CSS here right after background and the colon there. And then what you want to do is go into the one that says selector.elementor-button before. We want to go ahead and replace this blue here on the background. So just go ahead and paste that. And in case you have two semicolons, you can just delete one, just like that. As you can see, now it's working. Now, if you want to go ahead and adjust the width of the border, this part, let me try to simplify this as try to make it really easy for you guys. So let's say I change this to 5. If I change this, the top and the left to 5, I have to change my calculation here. I have to basically times it by 2. So whatever this is, just times it by 2 and then add it here. So this is going to be 10. And this is going to be 10. And then basically do the same thing for these. So this will be 10. And this will be 10. And this will be 5. So that's how you can make it even. Now, if you want to go further than that, I don't see why you would do that, but it's the same strategy, right? So if we do 7 here, you're going to times 7 times 2, which is going to be 14. So you're going to do 14 here, 14 here, and then 14 here, and then change this to 7. So that's how that works, and that's how you can get that set up. And just to go over a few things, I did leave this margin -15, so if you remove this, it's going to give you that spacing down there. And I already went over how to change the color. That's pretty much it. So now for the next one, which is going to be a quick one as well, is pretty much how to add the gradient animation. So in this, I'm going to paste it right in just to do it quickly. And then towards the end of the video, I'll explain everything a lot further and we'll actually write everything from scratch. So as you can see now, it's moving here. We have this gradient animation. So same thing, you just need to change the gradient color right here. So grab your gradient color from here. And then go ahead and paste that right in here. You can see just like this. If you want to go ahead and speed this up a little bit more, You can just do, you want to rotate it maybe in 2 seconds. So it's a lot faster, as you can see there. In case you see that little, might be a little bit of I'll fix that in the code later on so you won't see that. So now we're going to go ahead and write the code from scratch here. So let me go ahead and just remove this. And we can start to write this from scratch. So let's start from the beginning. Let's go ahead and add our selector here so we can select the button. And then we want to go ahead and target our Elementor button code. So let's do Elementor dash, oh, not that. Elementor dash button. Just like that. And then we want to go ahead and type in content. Add some quotes there. And we're not going to add anything in here. This is usually for if you want to add like text using CSS, which you can actually print out text, but we want to leave that empty. So that's super important that you add that. And then we're going to go ahead and set the position to absolute. So we can move this wherever we would like, and it's not stuck to just, it's not static, and we can move it wherever. So from there, we're going to set the left to -2. And let's make sure we have some semicolons there. And then at top here, we're going to set this to -2 as well. Basically want it to kind of go out a little bit. So from here, we're going to go ahead and add our width. And we're going to add a calculation. And then within that calculation, we want it to basically fill up the entire thing 100%. And then we want to add on 4 pixels to this. Add a semicolon to end it there. And we're going to type in height with the colon. Basically paste the same thing. And it's going to do the exact same thing. We have a calculation. We want it to fill it up 100%, the height, and add an extra 4 pixels to it. Okay. Now from here, we want to go ahead and add a background. Let's just do blue for now. And you're probably noticing that it's not working yet. That's because we got to add our pseudo of before. So let's go ahead and add before there. Now we can see that there's a little bit of an issue there, but we'll fix that right now. So what we want to do is, first of all, we're kind of noticing that we can't really see our text. So let's add a z-indexed of -1 because we want it to go behind the text, right? There we go. And then from here, we want to make sure that it doesn't fill up this entire box here. We kind of only want it to fill up our button that we have currently. So let's go ahead and target, type in selector, .elementor -button there. You can just copy just like how I did. And then we're going to do a position. Want to set this to relative. So it's basically doesn't fill up the entire thing and it just goes to its default positioning, which is just going to be on the left there. And there we go. So that works perfectly. And there's a few things we want to add to this. Want to go ahead and add an overflow of hidden. There we go. Now we will give it that spacing, as you can see there. But when we give it that overflow of hidden, we can see that now it's giving us our default border that we set. So something that you do want to do is make sure that you do set up your border radius. I didn't do that because this is already set by default in my site settings for the button. So make sure you guys adjust your border radius. You can set it to 100%, however you would like, and then that will get adjusted there. So let's do, what was it? Overflow of hidden. There we go. And then we're going to give this a z-indexed of 1. That's not going to do anything right now. And then we kind of want to remove that spacing under it. So we're going to do a margin bottom by negative, I don't know, do -15 pixels. That'll work. Okay. Now we have that working there and everything seems to be good so far. I'm going to add a border radius here, even though we see it there, just in case. I'm going to add a border radius anyway, in case you guys are having any issues. And we're going to set this to inherit. So it basically inherits our border radius setting that we have here. Okay. So from here, we need to basically add another pseudo, which is going to be after. And this one is going to pretty much going to be a layer on top of our before style here, our blue basically. So it's going to be right on top of it. And that is, we're basically just going to change the color of that to black. Or if let's say your background's white, you're going to change the color of that to white. If your background's black like mine, you're going to change it to black. Basically, we're just going to add it in between here, and then we're just going to adjust the width and the edges so then it extends a little more on the before. Hopefully that makes sense. So just think about it as two pancakes. One is, the first one that's set before is bigger, and the second one that's on top of it, which is after, is going to be a little smaller. And then it's going to be the one on top of it, which is after, the one on top of the pancake is going to be the color of the table, right? So it's going to look like, it's just an illusion, right? It's going to look like it's hollow. So hopefully that helped. Okay, so let's do a selector and Elementor bun, and we're going to do a pseudo. Most of the time it's standard add 2 colons, but this side we just add 1. So we're going to do after. We want it to go after our before there. And we're pretty much just going to copy everything else here. And we're just going to change a few things. So same color, we can see that. So just so that we can see it, I'm going to change it to red. But we don't have that border, right? So what we need to do is set this to a negative. And set this one to a negative as well. Now we're noticing that we still have that issue there. So basically we just need to go ahead and make these positive here. So remove the negative there. And there you have it. So the other thing that we have to do now is pretty much, like I mentioned, we want to go ahead and change this red to either black. If your website background is black, if your website background is red, red. Even if, for some reason, I've never seen a website background red, but if it is, you can leave it to red. If it's white, you can leave it to white. Mine is black. So I'm going to go ahead and just change this to black. Now, obviously, you could just now that might not be my black color, but I could just grab a color here, get a color code. I could even check my global for Elementor or use even the Elementor variable. That's a little more advanced there. So there we go. So that's set there. Now we're kind of giving it the illusion that we have a border, right? Now, obviously, if you're going to add a regular border, this isn't the way to go. It's just way too much CSS, and it's not really necessary. We're doing it this way because by default, the CSS doesn't allow us just to add a gradient color to our border color. That's why we have to do it this way. So now we just need to go ahead and just change the color here of the blue. Change the background to something else. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a gradient color. Now you can adjust this however you would like and change the color there, but this is the color that I'm going to use. So just copy that entire code. This is the site here. I'll try to link it in the description for you guys. So I'm going to paste it in here, as you can see. Now we have that effect. And don't worry about mobile and desktop. It's going to look good anyway. So, and if we want to center this, we can even center it. We should be fine. You're not going to have any issues. You can see, you're good. That's the beauty of it. I'm going to give this a little arrow, which is something that I didn't do just for show. Let's do an arrow to the left. And let's give it some spacing here, some little breathing room. There we go. So what if we want to go ahead and make our border move? We want to, add some sort of animation to it. So we just need to adjust our CSS here and add a keyframe. This part's pretty interesting, and it's actually kind of fun in my opinion. So what we're going to do, just so that I can show you how to get this to work. Obviously I have the code, you can just paste it in and change the gradient and it should be good, but I want to go ahead and show you how it works. So first of all, let's go ahead and just comment this out, the overflow and the Z index there. And then the other part that we're going to comment out is this here. So let's comment out our after. So then we can just see our gradient. And you'll kind of see why here in a bit. So let's go ahead. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave it on, just so then you guys can see the issue that you're going to come across and why we need to do it this way. So first of all, let's go ahead and add a keyframe. I'm going to add my keyframe right here. I'm going to give my keyframe a name. We're going to call this probably rotate BTN. And we're going to add some brackets. And then we're going to do a from and to. So we're going to do a from. We're going to start out on from. We pretty much just want to set this to transform. Let's add a colon there, transform. And we're going to do a rotate. And we want to go ahead and start this off at 0 degrees right there. And then from here, we want to go ahead and add a 2. So we want to go from 0 to 100 degrees, right? So we're going to add our brackets here from 2. And we're just going to copy this. And we're going to do 100 degrees there. You're noticing that we have a little bit of an issue here with that. So let me see what's going on here. So we want to go ahead and add an S to this, keyframes. Okay, that is the issue there. So there we go. So we want to go ahead and start it at rotate 0. And then we want to have it basically go 100 degrees, which is pretty much the entire thing, right? All around. So that's how we want it to rotate completely. And then basically we want to go ahead and add our animation to our pseudo element before here. So we're going to go ahead and type in animation. And we're going to go ahead and do we got to basically call our animation here. So it's going to be our rotate button. And then what we're going to do is give this a 4-second. We're going to do a linear infinite. So do a linear infinite, just like that there. Okay, so now we can see that it's moving, right? But let's say I go ahead and uncomment this. So we can see that it's not really doing what we need it to do, right? I mean, it still is kind of cool technically. Like, what if we just, left it at 1? And in case you kind of like this, which I personally don't, I think it's very strange. So that's definitely something that we need to go ahead and fix. So actually, you know what? We kind of noticing that it's not going the entire way. So we actually want it to rotate 360 here. There we go. You can see now it's rotating completely. And I mean, that's kind of cool, right? But that's not quite what we want. So in order to get everything to work I'm going to go ahead and set this to 4 seconds there. And we're going to comment this out real quick. So then we can see what's going on, right? And then we're going to basically comment out this as well. So pretty much we want more so a box. So it takes over, so we don't have areas where there isn't a gradient when it's rotating. So what we want to do is actually adjust our sizing. So what we can do first is set this to, just to give you an example, let's say we set this to 30, right? Well, got a little bit bigger. We want to go ahead and set this to 90. And then our height, we want to go ahead and set this to 200. Now we can see that that's good, but I kind of maybe want to remove the border off of that. So I will probably remove the inherit there, but we kind of still have this dark area. I want to just fill up the entire box when it's rotating. So I want this to have this in the middle here. So let's go ahead and from the top, we can maybe do 60 pixels to bring it up. Let's do 80. Yeah, I mean, 80, 89, that might be pretty good. I think 80 is actually really good. So let's do 80. And then we want to kind of move it more so to the left a little bit. So we can do maybe 7. Okay. No, not quite yet, because we can see that we still have that A little bit of, oh wait, okay, that kind of works a little bit, but we still have that issue there. So what we can do now, let's see what we can do. So I'm going to basically just move it a little bit more to the left. Let's do maybe about, I don't know, 20. There we go. Now, but the thing is though, I kind of want it to hit the blue a little bit, right? So even though it looks pretty good, I still need it to hit the blue a little bit more. So, okay, so let's adjust it a little bit more. Maybe we want to move it a little bit more to the right there. Actually, you know what? Let's do it a little bit less. Okay, nope, a little bit, maybe a little bit more, where it's just right. 5. There's still a little bit there. 28. Maybe we can do 200. I mean, the reason why I don't want to do 200 is because we have that. We want to kind of leave everything a little bit even there. So that's why we kind of have it at that. Maybe we can do 80 instead. And let's do 60. All right, there we go. So in my opinion, that works. That's kind of in the middle. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so now we can basically just go ahead and leave it at that. I mean, if you wanted to create this, you could too. So this is kind of cool, right? That also works. So I may refine it with my code that I end up giving you guys. So, but just showing you guys now, if we uncomment that out, we can see it now. You can see it's working perfectly. So that's pretty much it. I don't want to make this video too long adjusting it. You guys can just copy the code that I end up creating and you guys should be all set. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys do have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to help you guys out. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next video.